John Polemy here, Actionable Intelligence. This week, guys, I thought I'd mix it up a little bit. There's no weekly report just because the news has not really changed too much on the things that we are following, specifically uranium and oil. So what I thought I'd do this week was to show you or share with you some of the resources that I use in my investment information gathering. I mean, nowadays with the internet, Twitter, Facebook, I mean, all the different mediums, people are out there on YouTube. There's all kinds of channels. It can be a fire hose of information if you allow it to be. So I'm just going to share some of the things here that sites and individuals that I follow, that I listen to help me shape and my investment ideas and to actually get ideas sometimes. So the first resource is, you've heard me talk about this before, especially around the CAPE ratio and how I use that to consistently find undervalued markets to invest in. And one of the main resources for that is Meb Faber Research. Meb Faber is a quantitative analyst and also the Chief Investment Officer of Cambria Investment Management. What I like about this is that Meb has a basically weekly podcast where he has some excellent guests on. A lot of times they're talking about quantitative analysis or fund management, but there also are quite a bit of guests on talking about individual investing and ideas around investing, or as Meb calls it, talking about the craft of investing. One of the things I like about this particular website is the white paper section, which is here. And Meb and his team have written quite a few white papers. You can peruse this. They're not really that long. They're not hard to understand, but they do talk about approaches to investing and to asset allocation. There's also an excellent white paper that I recommend you read. I've talked about this one before. Global Value Building Trading Models with the 10-year CAPE. Excellent website. I definitely recommend taking some time to look at this. He also has written quite a few books, which I would recommend reading. Some of them are just compilations of the best investment writing of different top investors. There's also Global Asset Allocation and Global Value, How to Spot Bubbles, Avoid Market Crashes. This is an excellent book. One time he gave this away for free, but these books are all fairly cheap, and I would definitely take the time to read them. The next resource that I use, this is something I get. You can sign up for this. It's basically Steve Blumenthal. He works at CMG, and he puts out a weekly missive called On My Radar. I actually think this is one of the top. It's free too, so this is really an excellent newsletter that comes out every week, or write-up about the market, current valuations. It's very analytical. It uses a lot of information from Ned Davis Research, market history. I kind of like these things because, you know, history doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme, they say, and I like the fact that Steve Blumenthal, you know, has an excellent grasp of market history and using resources, analytical resources, to analyze the market. What has happened in the past tends to happen over and over. So you can sign up for this for free and get it in your email. I definitely recommend it. The next resource is called the Macro Tourist. This is another site you can sign up for, another resource. It comes in your email. This is by Kevin Muir. I like how it's kind of humorous in addition to being insightful. What I like about this guy is he's kind of modest when he messes up or when he gets something wrong. He's not shy about admitting it. So excellent resource there, Macro Tourist. I'm going to put links to all these in the show notes, so you can go back and look at these at your leisure. Next site is Capitalist Exploits. This is actually a paid subscription site, but they do have a free blog up here. This is run by Chris McIntosh. This is one of the only newsletters that I actually subscribe to. It's about $1,000 a year, but well worth it. They have a Slack community channel. Chris does an monthly question and answer where people write questions in and he answers them. Very good insight, contrarian investing right now a lot in resource markets because those happen to be out of favor, but this is doing fairly well, and I definitely would subscribe to the blog. This next site's called Adventures in Capitalism. This is Harris Kupperman's blog, if you will, and this guy started out when he was really young as a hedge fund manager. He's very successful. He continues to run a hedge fund. He's also the CEO of Mongolia Growth Group, which is a real estate business in Mongolia. This guy's made me a lot of money. He's very, very intelligent, really good at finding out of favor and contrarian investments. I would definitely subscribe to this. Another one you can just sign up for and it'll come in your news or into your email. So this is a recent one that I found. I don't know if I pronounce this guy's name. I met this guy on Twitter, Fay Capital Management, Tom Fay. Excellent, same thing, does a lot of analysis. This is all free stuff. This is a lot of analysis on various uranium stocks. I would definitely check this guy out on Twitter and also on his blog here. What I like about Tom is that he's very level-headed. He doesn't get, I think one of his tweets one time that really impressed me when somebody was getting a little bit too hyperbolic about uranium stocks was to set your expectations, cut them in half, and then cut them in half again, and you probably would be thinking right about where uranium's going. So I kind of like the fact that he's kind of temperate in his views. He's not too wild, but excellent resource on Twitter and on his blog. This next thing is something I signed up for. It's Dan Keeler. He is a journalist or a guy over at Wall Street Journal. He does this weekly Frontier Markets report. I like this. It's a short little email you get every week. If you want to sign up for it, you can go to the site. And you're going to get a lot of what are the major news items in various frontier markets around the world. It's kind of a amalgamation of all the relevant news. I like this because, it's very hard to find news sometimes on all of the little goings-ons in some of these smaller markets, but that's finding that information before everybody else does and seeing if it's actionable is one of the keys to my success. So this is a very, very good resource, which I get in my mail, my email every week too. So I would check this out if you're interested in emerging in frontier markets. So let me go to the actual site. So this is Mike Calkins Podcast he started doing. He just recently came on the scene talking about uranium. As everybody knows, we've talked about him before. This guy used to be a hedge fund analyst, and he struck out on his own. He's doing a newsletter now, but he also is back involved in a hedge fund specifically investing in uranium. He's only got about 25 episodes out, but I really like Mike's style. He's really down to earth. He's came up from a working class neighborhood. I think until his mid-20s or late 20s, he was working at a paint store, Sherwin-Williams store, mixing paint for people, and he kind of stumbled into this or made his way into in the investment analysis business and hedge funds, and he was able to work in New York City under some very successful hedge fund managers. So this guy's really smart, and I really encourage you to listen to his podcast. Like I said, he is a down-to-earth guy, and I like his style. So this is on YouTube. I like this Stansberry Investor Hour, Porter Stansberry, and I don't subscribe to any of his newsletters. This guy's a multi-hundred millionaire newsletter guy. He started out writing a newsletter about 15 years ago. He's built it into a huge family of newsletters. I like the hour-long newscast or NewsHour podcast every week. You can sign up on iTunes. Sometimes it's very informative. I don't necessarily agree with everything that he and his co-hosts say, but they are insightful, and they have some excellent guests on mostly every week. So they have the ability to really get some really good guests. So something I would definitely check out, although I don't really necessarily subscribe to their newsletters. Okay, this guy, I forget the guy's name, but it's basically the name of the podcast or YouTube's is called Quoth the Raven. This guy's really good too. I really like who he's been having on recently. He's only up to about 59 or 60 videos, but he's had people like Roddy Boyd, Mark Cahodes, Montana Skeptic. He really has dived deep into the Tesla mess, if you will, and I will say he's very explicit. He does use some very colorful language, but he's actually kind of funny too. So it's kind of an entertaining. He's got a good shtick where he's putting out good information, but yet it's in a very entertaining method. So bottom line, guys, I don't want to drag this video out for too long, but these are some of the resources that I use. These are some of the guys that I listen to. These are some of the websites that I go to or emails that I get every week for information. It's important, like I said, to really characterize and to call out the garbage and kind of try to find the diamonds in the rough. So I hope you found this useful. I will also be publishing a video, making a video about a lot of the books that I read that I recommend that people read. So that'll be coming up soon too. Appreciate all the listeners. People keep signing up. I'll keep making these videos, and appreciate the support. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you.